All right. Thank you for the invitation, and I will make a presentation that is comprehensible, and hopefully that you can raise some questions at the end of my presentation. I'm going to make my presentation in two parts. First is about the Chinese immigration starting from 1858. And then the second part, I will start with my own involvement in the Asian community in Central Ohio, starting from 1993 until now. So for my first part, let me make it clear that my research may not be totally adequate. However, I am using the evidence from the Columbus Library, Metro Library, and therefore I'm going to use all the records I collected and then give you a rough idea. My research is at the first Chinese came to Central Ohio is 1858. This guy is from Cleveland. However, we all lost the track of his footstep. And we do not know where did he go and so on and so forth. And then the second group is from Haoqi village of Canton province in China. They started their journey in 1892 and by boat arrived in Philadelphia at the end of 1892. And then they got beaten, discriminated, and suffer all kinds of things you cannot even imagine. Even so, they stayed there for a year and a half and then moved westward. And they stopped at Pittsburgh. And then they got the same treatment and really, really bad, even worse. And they still stayed there for slightly more than 20 months. And then they moved westward, arrived in Columbus in 1896. And the people in Columbus treat them really well and knew that they've been treated badly. Therefore, they are trying to revert the image. Therefore, they taught them English and also taught them how to survive. And after that, a group from same village, Haoqi village in Canton and by boat arrived in New York in 1893. Got the same treatment, bad, and then moved westward to Cleveland. And then finally, they know there's a group of Chinese in Columbus. So they moved down and joined. These two groups joined in the end of 1896. So with that said, that they started to try to make a living. And the first thing they did is laundromat. So the first one established, as far as I know, is at the beginning of 1897. they started their laundromat business and made a living and was this big group. They even established an organization in 1899 called Bao Huang Dang, try to protect the emperor of China. So that is the beginning of their first organization. And with that said, that they started to have the first, not even a restaurant, it's a tea house in 1903. By the way, the first baby, Chinese baby, was born in 1905, a 10-pound baby, big one. And with this said, I just wanted to go on with my second part of my presentation. That is that, oh, by the way, there's one more thing I need to tell you is 1942 is the first engagement from this Chinese group to celebrate the July 4th event downtown with a float. And also at that time, Ambassador Hu Shi came to join them. That's the first ever a ambassador came to Columbus, Ohio, and in fact, Ohio. So it is significant. That's why I made a remark on this point. And then, as I said, I would like to move on to the second part.
Okay, that's great, Dr. Lu. Before you move on to the second part, let's see if the kids have any questions for this era you were talking about.
Okay,
so
sure.
Now I see Li Minru 老师, Li Jiashou joined us too, and Jeffrey Xie just joined us too. So we have about let's see, 7 kids on the call with us. 6 kids on the call with us. So does any of you have any questions? Li Jiashou, do you want to say something? Okay, we'll continue then. So does any of the kids here have any questions? Remember the time frame, the 1890s. Do you remember what was happening in China back in the 1840s, 1890s? Remember we studied the Chinese history? Just roughly, you don't remember all the details, but roughly what's going on in the 1890s? The Qing Dynasty, right? I think Lisa or Lucas, you probably can say something there. Lucas, want to give it a try? 1840s and the 1890s.
A lot of war, I think.
Yeah, the Opium War, right? 1842, the first Opium War, and 1860, the second Opium War. So, and also the Qing Dynasty, is it on the rise or is it in decline? Remember?
It's in decline.
It's in decline, and people are living a hard life, and that's the overall environment of the era that Dr. Lu was talking about. And so people are having a hard life, and that's why they are grasping every possible opportunity. When there's a opportunity to immigrate to other countries, they did that. So the people from the Canton of Fujian area, they are the group people that are most likely immigrant to the United States. And back then there's the gold rush. Remember, they came to the West Coast to try to dig gold. And later, on the West Coast, there's this Chinese railway workers. Remember, we watched the videos last class, right? That's the era we're talking about. The Dr. Lu talked about the people who are coming to Columbus are mainly those people who are from Canton. They first landed on the East Coast in Philadelphia, and because they were badly treated, and that's why they're moving westward, and they came to Columbus, and they were received well. That's why they're settling down. So now you feel good about Columbus, right? Okay. Ping us, or feel free to chime in anytime if you have questions. Otherwise, I'll let Dr. Lu continue with his story, which is more fascinating than the first part. Once he finishes his story, and we'll ask more questions. Go ahead, Dr. Lu.
Okay, the reason I don't say anything from the Chinese point of view, because I only have 25 minutes. Now, 15 minutes by gone, and so there's no way I can finish what I want to say to you. But anyway, because you want me to give you a little bit of my background, and I just briefly to tell you that I am a professor emeritus in the mathematics department of OSU. I came to Columbus in 1969. I came to this country in 1961 and got my PhD in Berkeley, California, and then from California moved to Ohio in 1967. And, okay, with that said, that because my time constraint, therefore I'm going to jump down to 1993.
Okay.
As I said, my second part. In October, end of October of 1993, a group of physicians came to my house, asked me to establish a medical clinic, a free Asian clinic. By the way, from here on, all my presentation will be for Asians, not only Chinese.
Okay.
And the reason they want me to establish a clinic is because they put a label on my back saying this guy is a doer. And therefore, they are trying to ask me to do something. Well, with that said, another reason is that I know a lot of friends in Columbus. So I wrote 68 letters, and the 38 of them came to the basement of a restaurant and discussed how to establish a clinic. As I said, my trade is mathematician, and I have no knowledge about the medical clinic. However, that's what I'm trying to do. And with that said, we had the meeting more than 2 hours, and mostly they pour ice water, even ice on my shoulder, saying that, no, this is not for you. And however, at the end, they established an ad hoc committee and asked me to chair this committee to find out what should be doing to establish a medical clinic. And so with that responsibility, I got a chance to visit LifeCare Alliance in Columbus. And after I toured their kitchen, I was stunned, amazed that every day they produce 4,000 meals at that time and deliver to household by volunteers. And with that, and we sat down, had a meeting, and they asked me, how do I think? I said, this is beyond my imagination, amazing. And I'm so proud of what you guys are doing, because that is only a volunteer, a nonprofit organization. And they pressed me to give them some ideas, opinions. Then I said that, yes, I do have one. I want the elderly not only to have hot, nutritious meals, but also socialization. If we can get them together to have a hot meal and then also share their thoughts and talk to each other. I think that will be even better. Socialization is a part of mental health. And with that said, they said, why don't you write a proposal? And I did. And then we start my meal program on February 5th, 1994. So right now, this is our 28th year in the operation, and we are helping the elderly. Elderly means over 60, and to have nutritious meal, but also socialization. And with that said, in June of 1994, I finally established an organization called Columbus Asian American Community Service Council, ACSC. And with that council, they elect me as the president. And the second meeting, I proposed the Asian Festival to the council with a unanimous approval. So we start Asian Festival, the preparation. Our inaugural year is 1995. And at the end of 1995, we had a reception. And a wonderful lady, her name is Wanda Diller, and she pulled me on the side, saying that, Dr. Lu, I heard your speech. We know that you want to establish a clinic, and now there's an opportunity for you because there is a funding available. And with that, I was so surprised and so happy, however, so worried because I know nothing about the clinic. Took me 18 months straight to study, doing the research, finally opened the Asian Free Clinic on June 2nd, 1997. And this is the 25th year in the operation. And the Asian Festival, we start in Memorial Day weekend, 1995. And mainly, there are two visions. One, showcase the Asian culture and the heritage to the general public. Therefore, we are not charging anyone even a penny. Secondly, we want to pay back to the society, to the community by providing free health screenings. And because of that, that's why Wanda Diller supported the Asian Festival and also supported our effort. And with that said, we each year, in 2 days of the Asian Festival, we screen every year close to 550 people. And that is our major effort in helping our community. And because I've been labeled as a doer, and therefore, starting from 1999, and I started to think that we should do something for the state of Ohio. And that's why I was hoping to establish a statewide coalition from the Asian community perspective. And because of my time, I have to jump. Finally, 1995, and I finally established Ohio Asian American Health Coalition. And that is a major effort with 4 priorities: hepatitis B, domestic violence with mental health, diabetes with obesity and smoking cessation. And that is helping our Asian community a great deal. And also in the year 2005, I started to think to establish something even more important, and took me 5 years. Finally, in March of 2010, I finally established Ohio Asian American Pacific Islander Advisory Council under the governor. At that time, the governor was stricken. And we started to have a report about the Asian community in Central Ohio. So that report not only distributed to all the state officials, but also to Washington, D.C. And that is the reason I've been invited to White House, Washington, D.C., Education Department, Treasury Department, etc., many times. And to let them know that not only two coasts, we have a lot of Asian people, but also in Central Ohio, we are doing something significant for our Asian community. And with that, and we established a lot of things, and in particular for the pandemic last a couple of years, and we raised a lot of money and to help the hospitals, medical centers, and the people, and provide a lot of help. And this is really what we are trying to do. We are trying to accomplish and to help people. And therefore, this is why that I am here today to share some information with you about the development of the Asian community in Ohio, as well as that to the state, the even federal government. Thank you for your invitation. And this is what I just passed the 1 minute. Now it's 26 minutes mark.
My goodness, Dr. Lu, I've known you for, I think on and off for more than 10 years, but I didn't know all these great accomplishments you did. What you said just blew my mind away. You're like a god to me now. You did so much.
Thank you.
For the Asian community. I mean, everybody knows about you, but we don't know all these things you did. But to tell the truth, some of these things you did, a lot of people here are beneficiaries. Like my mom, she visited the Columbus, 10 times. Every time she's here, she wants to go to the elderly's lunch, so she's been there quite a few years. But now she's back in China. She's not. She decided not to come here anymore. But all those things. I mean, a lot of the people here, their parents, their grandparents, they have benefited from that. And also the free clinic you talked about. My goodness, my mom has been there too, and I heard so many grandparents have used that free services because they came from a completely different country. They didn't have the means or money to go to see the doctor. So the free clinic is very useful for these visiting grandparents. But I know it's even more important and critical for a lot of the Asians living here for so many years. But
well, it is even more important because we had the health screenings at the Asian Festival.
Yes.
And for all those people abnormal, and we cannot throw them out on the street. And we have to have a place for them to come to us, and we'll take care of them. And that's why this linkage is very important. It's not we just had the screening at the festival, but also we have a location, a place for them to be taken care of.
My goodness, that's really amazing. That's tons of work, tons of coordination, and you have to work with so many different people in order to get their help, right? A lot of them are providing kind of like donations and free volunteer type of help, right? That's
Yeah.
just really amazing. So all of my kids here, now you learn a little bit more about, the immigrant history in Columbus. Especially, the kind of like Dr. Lu's contribution to our community here. And a lot of you, I know, you must know the Asian festival. So I would suggest that, when you are a little bit older, definitely try to join the volunteer group. Whenever, it's back online again. Right now, I know it's virtual this year. Last year was virtual, but, once, we got over this pandemic, the Asian festival is back again. Let's go volunteer. I'm going to get my kids volunteer, Dr. Lu. You did so many amazing.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.